Hey guys, welcome back. So we want to talk about an interesting phenomenon that's been taking place with the Hellion, which we refuse to call it by that name. Springfield gave it that name, which basically means misbehaving child, think it's stupid. So we'll just go ahead and call it the VHS-2 or VHS for short. While shooting this gun, we've noticed under certain conditions what looks to be not just your little spark or little tiny fireball you might encounter occasionally, but we're talking about full-on explosions out the ejection port of the gun, and that's what we want to talk about in today's video. Now, we've posted on Instagram about this. We made a couple of posts, and some of our peers in the industry, people that you would generally respect their commentary on such things, chimed in and gave us some stuff that I will share with you, their perspective on this. Folks that would have a pretty good understanding of what's going on with the dynamics of this gun, the cartridge being used, and the suppressors, which it seems to happen most frequently with suppressors. And all the video evidence that we have to show you today will be suppressed. We have no video evidence of this occurring unsuppressed. But before we get started with today's video and dive deeper into this, I'd like to ask you guys, if you enjoy content like this, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. That's how we fund our operations here. If you join Patreon, you'll get early access to videos like this one. You'll have direct access to me. I answer all private communications, and we have some other perks as well. So please consider clicking that link down there in the video description. All right, guys, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about fireballs coming out of the ejection port of the VHS. Over the years, you guys have seen me use a lot of primary arms optics, everything from red dot sights to magnified optics. And why do I do that? Well, over the years, they've offered very good products for a very fair price. They have fast shipping, outstanding customer support, and that's why you've seen me using those products for so many years. If you guys would like to pick up a magnified optic like you see on this Daniel Defense Mark 12, you can pick up an optic like this one. Just put it in your cart over at pa.com or primaryarms.com, and if you use the code MAC at checkout, MAC at checkout, you'll get a free scope mount with your optic, and that goes for any Primary Arms branded optic. If you pick up an optic that has an integrated mount, use that code MAC at checkout, and you'll get a free Kill Flash ARD for that optic. So please swing by and check out primaryarms.com. When we first started shooting the rifle, it was in its factory configuration with its 4-prong flash suppressor. And we don't recall having any fireballs on our first outing, shooting the rifle, playing with it, getting it zeroed, all that good stuff. Later, we decided to put an OSS can on it, and we use OSS cans here at the Military Arms channel primarily on gas guns like this because it's a very low back pressure suppressor. By back pressure, I mean how much gas is forced back down the barrel and through the gas system of the gun. If you use a traditional baffled can like this one, there's a lot more back pressure. A lot more high pressure gas comes back down the barrel, back through the gas system. A lot of it comes out the ejection port. With the OSS, you won't get a bunch of gas in your face. With the YHM Turbo you see here, you'll get a bunch of gas in the face, and that's that gas coming back down the barrel from the overpressuring of that suppressor. So we got the OSS on it, and we started to see the occasional big flash out of the ejection port. And like, dude, did you see that? Yeah, then we'd shoot it some more and try to get it to happen again. And then it would happen again, just out of the blue. And this is in the course of firing hundreds and hundreds of rounds. And we started seeing it happen more frequently. It seems as though cold air has something to do with it. So before I get into much more of what we think is going on, I want to post some comments from our Instagram post where I posted a short video clip and a picture of the explosion from the ejection port. And I am calling it an explosion because it's huge. It's not that little typical little burning gas or spark that comes out you'll see sometimes, but a literal explosion. I want to post some of the comments from some industry peers and people that you would think would have a pretty good opinion of about what's going on potentially with the gun, okay? And so I want you to read their comments. I'm going to put them up over in the blank space over here to my left. So then we started trying it with and without the suppressor, and we definitely got more video evidence. It did happen at least once that we know of without a can on, but with the suppressor on, it definitely happened more. And it seemed as though it happened far more frequently when it was cold outside. So when we were filming when it was really cold, we would see it more often, and even when we weren't filming, because we shoot these rifles a lot off camera, and then we would see it go away as it warmed up, as we did today. So today we came out with the express purpose of trying to get more footage of this happening to see if we could kind of troubleshoot it. The ammunition that we were using, which both of these types of ammunition caused the explosion out the ejection port, is the 223 Remington 55 grain ball, and this is from Norma, and then we have Remington 223 55 grain ball from Federal. Again, both of these caused it, and you'll see there are two rifles here. This happened out of both rifles. Now, we've only had it happen with the long OSS and the K-can. So you can see this is the long one that I've had on the other rifle, and this is the K-can on this rifle. And both suppressor lengths, we did have it happen. We got out here early this morning, and it was in the 40s. And we had another flow-through can. This is from X2 Dev Group, and we'll talk more about this when it warms up here. We'll get some meter testing and stuff done on this. I want to show you guys the Apollo series of suppressors. But this, much like the OSS, is a flow-through design, very low back pressure. And so we came out, and it was at 40 degrees. We put it on this rifle, and we got it to happen. It happened a couple of times in the first magazine that we fired. We're like, oh boy, so is it something to do with flow-through cans? We brought out a baffled can. This is a YHM Turbo, and we put it on the rifle, and by this point, it was starting to warm up fairly quickly. We were getting into the 50s. Right now, it's about 56 degrees outside, and we weren't seeing it anymore. And then we went back to the OSS. We put the YHM on there, fired mags and mags and mags, and we couldn't get it to happen, so we're thinking, okay, maybe it's an OSS thing. We went back to the OSS and shot it over and over and over again, and it just stopped doing it. Same thing with the X2 Dev Group. So it seems as though temperature is playing a factor in this explosion out the ejection port of the side of the gun. That's the only thing we can come up with, because when it gets warmer, as today, now we can't get it to happen at 56 degrees. But when it's high 30s, low 40s, it seems to occur fairly often. And that's with two different guns. So we're going to do more testing with this, but what we want to ask you guys is, for those of you out there that have a VHS rifle, if you're seeing this yourself, let us know in the comments down below if it's happening and what is and how it's happening. So for us, we've used OSS low back pressure suppressor, the X2 Dev Group low back pressure suppressor. We've used the baffled YHM, and then the full-size OSS in the case can. We've also done it with the suppressor setting, both in normal and suppressed. And yes, it's a suppressed setting. If you read the Springfield Owner's Manual, it's not a severe setting, meaning it's giving it more gas. It is a suppressor setting, meaning it's giving it less gas. Let us know what your gas position was, if you were messing with that, what can you were running, if you were running a can, because it could happen, we believe, without a can present. And let us know what type of ammunition you're using, and let us know roughly what the temperature outside was. And that will help us to better understand potentially what is causing this explosion out the ejection port of the VHS rifles. That's about all we can ask of you guys, because right now we have no answers. And it's really, really weird. And why do we think it's a problem? I mean, it's annoying. When it happens, you can definitely feel the heat on your face. Now, the rifle, you can tell, has these flared port protectors, if you will, or brass case deflectors. It's flared out. So it flares out, and when you're shooting right-handed, it's not much of an issue. You can feel the heat of it, but you're protected from stuff going back this way towards the shooter's face, because you have these little wings popping out that are protecting the shooter's face. However, if you have the gun set up as a right-handed shooter and you're doing practice drills where you go to left-hand shooting and you pop it over here and you fire it and it goes off like it, we get the port explosion. Now this is going to be a problem. So if you guys are running a suppressor, it's cold outside, well, just in general, guys, be careful and watch for it happening with your VHS rifle and see if it's happening. And be very careful if you're doing those transition drills from one shoulder to the other, because that port thing's, could burn you pretty bad. We don't know, probably singe your hair at least. It certainly is quite startling. We've seen a lot of comments on the Instagram posts. There's a lot of speculation out there. You know, people are saying it's overgassed, the gun's firing out of battery, which isn't the case. We've picked up the spent cases when it's occurred and looked at them. The primers are normal. The primers aren't blown. They're not popped. They're not backing out. There's no case splitting going on. The cases are just fine. So it's not going off out of battery. That's not the issue. Is it unlocking prematurely? Perhaps. But without super slow motion cameras, there's no way we can really tell. So we're relying on some industry experts which had commented on our Instagram. We hope you comment down below on this video. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up. We really look forward to your comments. Hopefully some of you guys can give us some input, how things are going with your guns. Hopefully everything's going well. If you guys like to support us here at the Military Arms Channel, the best way to do that is to become part of our Patreon family. Again, there is a link in the video description below, or right here on YouTube. You got that little join button underneath the video player you're watching right now. Mash that join button and you can support us here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. And last but not least, guys, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Thank you for 14 years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon.